Hey guys, welcome to Voice Over Chess. And this video is gonna be different than the two previous videos I have made on this channel, as some of my friends and the viewers of the channel have suggested me to make something on the beginner chess. Firstly, they suggested me that I would speak something so fast in the chess language that they couldn't understand, and secondly, they told that they wanted something that is even more even easier to understand. So I thought to start this series of beginner chess, where I will be like teaching the chess from scratch, and then I would be putting more content that is on intermediate and advanced level. So let's start. Okay, so this video is going to be divided into 4 parts. The first one is the Russian names. Okay, so I'm gonna first tell you about the Russian names. That is actually the international chess. In international chess, we use Russian names of the pieces rather than English or Hindi or whatever language you are in. So that's more common in the chess world. So I'm gonna talk about that first. Okay, so let me just drag one of the pieces. Okay, so this is what we call in English a soldier, maybe. So in Russian language it's called a pawn, P-A-W-N, pawn. Okay, here's a knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, a horse, that is called a knight. It's called the camel, or whatever you can call it, is called a bishop. The elephant is called the rook. The queen, as in English, is called the queen, and the king, as in English, is called the king. So that's the all pieces we have covered. Okay, so that's it for the Russian names. I'm gonna now talk about the second part, that is the piece movement. Okay, so let me just clear the board. Okay, so here we are going to talk about how the pieces move. In general, it is very basic. So I'm just gonna put a pawn here, so just the position to every type of move of pawn. Okay, and yes, one end and let's see. So first of all, a pawn that is on the second rank, this is the second rank or the 7th rank, that is its starting position, has 2 ways to move. Either it can go 1 step ahead or 2 step ahead. The pawn on f2 can either go on f3 or to f4. Let's say f2 to f3, or it can go back. Okay. Or it can go from f3 to f2 to f4. Okay. Now, if this pawn has gone to f3, like this pawn on c2 has gone to c3, it has now only one move to play if there is no opponent pawns or any pieces beside it. So it can play only one move, that is go only 1 step ahead. Okay, that's c3 to c4, or in this case f4 to f5. Okay, so let's go back. So it can only go to f3 to f4. Okay, that's the pawn movement. Okay, now every piece on the board generally has the same moves and the same exchanging moves as it moves. Like the pawn moves from f2 to f4. So if there is a pawn on f4, what would we do? Okay, in that case the pawn cannot move on f4. Okay, this is somewhat different from the other pieces. We will know after we will talk about the other pieces. But in the case of the pawn cuts diagonally. Okay, diagonally 1 step ahead. Okay, so like this pawn, it can cut the pawn on e6 by just moving diagonally. Okay, there is another special move that a pawn can make. Let me just clear the board once again. Okay, set up this move. This move is called impassant or impasse, and it is one of the moves in international chess that most people that are beginning the chess may not know, it is a valid rule and it is accepted all over worldwide international chess. So if the opponent pawn just passes by you and you cannot cut it, then there's a move called impasse where you can cut the opponent point just by, I'm gonna show you that, like the opponent pawn moves from f7 to f5, so you can just impasse it from e5 to f6 and cut it like this. Okay, now this pawn will be lost here. It's not doing that, I guess. Okay, let's just go to starting position. Okay, so I have reached the starting position, so I don't know what's the problem with that. Okay, so I'm gonna illustrate the same impasse move in this. Let's say the white player plays this. Let me start over, sorry. f4, e5, something like f5, and the opponent plays e5. In such a position, the white player can just impasse the pawn by putting this pawn from f5 to e6, and this pawn will be lost. Now the thing that to keep in mind is that this impasse move can be done on the immediate next move on which the black pawn has been moved, something like this, and now you cannot impasse the pawn. Okay, so the impasse move can be done only once, when it can be done as many times as possible, but only only immediately after the movement of black pawn. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the other pieces. Okay, so let me just clear this board. Okay, and just bring out the pieces. So let's talk about the knight. Okay, so knight is most funkiest piece on the board. First of all, knight is the only piece that can jump over other pieces. Like if there is something like a pawn here or a pawn here, knight can easily go anywhere on the board. It can jump through pieces. It cuts in the same way as it moves, like the other pieces on the board, unlike the pawn. And just the movement of the knight is 2.5, or we call it 2.5 here in India. So it's like this. Okay, so the knight will go 2 steps ahead and then either right or left square. Okay, so it can go here, 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 and it can go here. Okay, and back and forth. Now the pawn is the only piece. The pawn is the only piece on the board, which I told you in the pawn section also. It's the only bit on the board that cuts in a different way and also cannot move backward. The other pieces on the board can move as many times forward and backward. The pawn cannot. Okay, like the knight can go to e5 and then come back to d3 and so forth. Okay, so let's move to the pieces. Okay, let's take an example of clear the board, and let's take an example of bishop. Okay, so the bishop moves diagonally in the sense from d3 to a6, from d3 to h7, from d3 to f1, and from d3 to b1. Okay, so there are 2 colored bishops, a black bishop and a white bishop, and both sides, the black side has a black bishop and a white bishop, and the white side has a black bishop and the white bishop, and they both move diagonally. Okay, and unlike the knight, they cannot jump over pieces, neither their own or the opponent pieces. They can cut the opponent pieces, but they cannot jump over them. Okay, okay, so now comes, this is called the bishop, as I told you, and now we are going to talk about the rook. Okay, so the rook moves horizontally and vertically in the straight lines. Okay, so it can go here, 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 and here. Okay, and similarly the rook is not a specific color. The rook can easily go from a white square to a black square and then move, unlike bishops, and also it cannot jump over the other pieces, unlike the knight. Okay, now let's talk about let's talk about the queen. Okay, oh, queen. Okay, so the queen has a hybrid of the rook and the bishop. Okay, so the queen can move both diagonally and horizontally. Okay, so it has as much squares as a rook and a bishop can have. Okay, it has same characteristics as a queen, as a bishop and a rook. It cannot jump over the pieces, and it cuts in the same way as it moves. Okay, now the most important piece on the board is the king. However, the king is the most important piece as the game ends directly after the king has been lost or it has been checkmated exactly. So the king doesn't move as much as the other pieces. In fact, the king can only move one square in any direction of its vicinity. Okay, so the king can either go to d6, to c6, to c5, to c4, to d4, to e4, to e5, and to e6. By the way, the things I'm telling you are just the squares here. The exact notation of the pieces that we are going to talk about in this next part, and just by telling you the e and the fifth rank, and where they meet, where they that square I'm talking about. Like when I say king d5 to e5, I'm just talking about these two squares, and these two squares can be easily talked about by saying the rank and the file, then telling about the square. Okay, that was just a part of the next part of this video. Okay, so that's all for the piece movements, and next we're going to talk about the piece value. Okay, so in chess every piece has its own value. Okay, there are exchanges in chess, and there are many other things. There are tempes and other things we're going to talk about in this series, not particularly in this video but other videos of this series, and maybe in advanced and intermediate parts of this channel. Okay, but the most important thing I'm going to talk about is the value of pieces. So every piece in a chess has its own value, and with the value I mean when you exchange that piece for another piece of the opponent, you can't exchange a queen for a pawn. Okay, so in that sense I'm going to talk about the piece value. Okay, so we just give a random integer number to each of the pieces. Okay, so for reference we give pawn just 1 point. Okay, so pawn is worth a 1 point. Okay, just by point I mean that a black pawn and a white pawn are both worth 1 point. So if you give a white pawn for a black pawn, it's most likely a good exchange, an equal exchange actually. Okay, it all depends upon the position we lead. That's a different story altogether, but generally it's just an equal thing to exchange. Okay, 1 point for 1 point. Okay, so pawn costs 1 point. Now we are going to talk about the knight and the bishop. Okay, generally when we talk about the knight and the bishop, it's confusing. It's really confusing. It's just depend upon the position. The knight and the bishop both are worth more than a pawn. They're worth probably around 3 points. Okay, so 1 point for a pawn, 3 points for knight and bishop. However, in end games, bishops are really good. Even bishop pair is really good. Not a single bishop is good, but if we have a bishop pair, it's really good in the end part of the game. Okay, so there it's really good, but in middle game we just see that the bishop and the knight are both worth equal points. So I'm going to just give them both 3 points. Okay, so let's talk about the rook. Okay, the rook. The rook is worth more than a pawn and also more than the bishop or the knight. Okay, it's worth 5 points, and again I'm gonna just say one thing, that it all depends upon the position mainly. But in the middle game where both sides have chances, if the person that has a rook and another person has a bishop or a knight on a pawn, in exchange to that, most likely the side which has a rook has an advantage. Okay, now there's queen. So the queen is a very important piece on the board. It's important, not more than a king, but it's still very important as it is very powerful. It can move as a rook, as a bishop, and it is worth 9 points. Okay, and of course the king is worth infinite points. It's just infinite. You can't give away and exchange it for another king or something like that. Okay, so it infinite. Okay, so that is it for this part of the video. Next move to the next part, that is the game notation. Okay, like this is the starting position of chessboard, and when you move a pawn, you see this kind of things that appear on the right side. Okay, knight, b5, knight. Okay, so I have told you about the piece values, I have told how the pieces move, I have told the Russian names of the pieces, and now we are going to talk about the notation, that is what is happening here on the right hand side of the screen. Okay, so what's happening is that when a piece moves from its square to another square, we generally note down the name of the piece and the square it has moved to. We do not mostly bother on the square it has moved from, but we bother about the square it has moved to. Okay, so like the knight has just jumped from b1, the knight has jumped from b1 to c3, and the first word of the first alphabet of the word knight is K, but the K has been assigned already to the king, so we use N for knight. Okay, so the knight N, there's in the capital N here on the screen, you can see capital N, and it has moved to the square c3, so we write knight c3, and it is the fourth move on the board. Let's just start with the first move. Okay, it says e4. The pawn, we can write p for a pawn, but we generally do not write anything for a pawn. If anything is not written in front of a square name, it means that it is a pawn move. Okay, so we have just moved e4, e5, similarly e5, a pawn move, knight f3. Now the knight has gone to f3 from where g1. We do not care. Why we do not care exactly is because there is no other knight that can move to f3. The other knight cannot move to f3. Okay, so that is the case here. I'm going to talk about that case where both the knights can go to the same square. Okay, so knight c6, similarly knight c6. Okay, the knight is n, the bishop is b, the rook is r, the queen is q, and the king is k. The pawn is p or maybe nothing. Okay, so that is all, and we have to write the square it has moved to. Now let us just create a case where both knights can go to a similar square. Okay, let's say we go here, here, and here. Okay, now white moves something, and the black player has to move his knight to e5. Let's say the black player wants to move his g pawn to e5. Okay, so the knight player moves here, but the thing to notice here is that the c6 pawn also had the potential to move to e5. So if we just write knight e5, and generally the notation is for viewing the games afterward, then we do not know after the tournament or whatever, wherever you played the game, you just come home and you see the notation, and you do not remember whether the g knight came to e5 or the c knight came to e5. So you can see here on the right hand side of the board that it counts its name as knight g e5. The move is knight g e5. So what we have done is that when both the knights have the potential, or both any two pieces, that's the two pair of bishops, the pair of knights, or pair of the rooks, have the potential to go to the same square, then first alphabet knight is written, the e5 is written, and between the knight and the e5 or the bishop or the square it is going through, we write the name of the file or of the rank that is different in both of the pieces. Okay, let me just make it more clear. Like in this case, the knights were on different files. Okay, files or ranks, whatever you call it. I don't remember exactly. I just call for this example, let's just call the vertical ones files and the horizontal one ranks. Okay, so the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are the files, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are the ranks. Okay, so in this case, the knights were on different files as well as different ranks, but we consider files on the priority. Okay, so if they both are on different squares altogether, we are going to consider G A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, so in this case the knight moves from G to E5. The C pawn can also, if this knight moved to E5, it would be knight C E5. Okay, so we are going to write that alphabet of the square it has moved from. Okay, but in the case now let me just create a circumstance of that thing. Okay, now in this case the knights are both on the same rank. They are on the same rank, 6th rank, and the only thing different here are the files. So we just move here knight G E5. It has moved from the G file to the E5 square, and it's a knight, so knight G E5. Okay, or knight C E5. But there is a different circumstance that can happen, that is this. Now in this case the both of the knights can move to E5, and both of the knights are also on the C rank. Okay, C rank. Okay, so in this case what we do is that we write the file name or the rank name, whatever it, but we write the number. Okay, a particular number that is assigned on that square. Okay, so like let's say it just moves here, so it is knight 4 E5. It was on the 4th rank, it was on the 6th rank. There was the only difference in the squares, and so knight moved from the 4th rank to the E5, or in that case, or in the opposite case, knight 6 E5 will be played, knight 6 E5. Okay, so like that we write the notations. The plus symbol is used for a check. The hashtag symbol is used for a mate, and 0/0 symbol is used for a castle, like here, the castle. Let's just move here. A short castle is 0/0. Let's just do a long castle instead. Long castle has a symbol of 0/0/0. Okay, so that is mostly, according to me, all about this video, and thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like my channel if you like the content, and see you guys in the next one. Thank you.